Let's do this!
Hey guys, Tyler here from Card Collectors, and today I'm doing my top 10 collection items. Last week Jacob did his top 10, so if you haven't seen his yet, go ahead and click through here and give that a watch. So let's get started. I'm going to start my list off with my box copy of Donkey Kong Country 2. While DKC 2 isn't my favorite in the series, it's still a lot of fun. Now I do own 1 and 3, however I don't have those boxed. So in the meantime, I'm just very happy to have this. Now in the near future, we could be seeing a Let's Play of this, but that's not set in stone yet. At number 9, I have Super Mario All-Stars. Frank, as usual, hooked me up with a great price on this box, so I'm fortunate to have a complete copy of this game. It's tons of hours of fun with the 4 Mario games all on one cartridge, and it's one of the few ways that you can play the original Super Mario Bros. 2, so that's always cool. For number 9, I have loyal subscriber and overall good guy Jeremy to thank for Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. He saw this online on Craigslist and passed the listing along to me. The listing had this, Donkey Kong Country, a Super Nintendo with the cables and the controllers. Now the guy said that the Super Nintendo didn't work. So since I had to drive, over an hour to get there and he claimed the Super Nintendo didn't work, I talked him down from $20 to $15 because I'm extremely cheap like that. And what he didn't realize is I would have paid more than $20 even with the Super Nintendo not working. But what he also didn't realize was the Super Nintendo actually worked. It just had a dead power cable. So overall, it ended up being a very good day for me picking that up, and it was actually an episode of The Hunt. So that's something that you can watch here. Okay. Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. This is one I got from Frank a while back. The box isn't in the greatest shape, which he took into consideration on the price on it, so ended up getting another good deal. Thank you, Frank. As always, you're the man. So when I got home, I was happy to put my copy of Ocarina of Time in here. And obviously, one of the greatest games of all time, revolutionized gaming, and it's just fun every time. And, just talking about it makes me want to go back through and play it again, which I probably will because, it's Ocarina of Time. Now, Jacob has his VIC-20, as he mentioned in his video, and I have my Odyssey 2. Both are a lot of fun, and we've actually done videos on each, so if you haven't checked those out, go ahead. They're pretty old for our channel, but I still think they're fairly enjoyable, just like their systems. Now, my Odyssey 2 I found one day at my grandmother's when I was looking in the attic for my Sega Game Gear. Now, I don't believe I ended up finding my Game Gear that day, but I was very happy to find this Odyssey 2, which was actually my mom's and her brother and sisters when they were kids, and my grandmother let me have it. My mom and my uncle both thought it was really cool that I found it, brought back good memories for them, and created new memories for me. When I was a kid, I played a lot of Sega Genesis, from Sonic the Hedgehog, Earthworm Jim, Aero the Acrobat, Shinobi, Golden Axe, but one of my favorites was Streets of Rage. I had the first 2. I never had the third one though. This is actually the most recent addition to my collection of anything that is on this list. I got this in the Craigslist Caper portion of our AVGN trip, which I believe was day 3. If you haven't seen that video or that series of videos, I definitely recommend. From 1 to 3, they progressively get better. And you can click here to watch the third one. I'm going to stop advertising that for now, but you should check it out. This is a game that when we were down there, when we were down in Massachusetts on the second day, I saw this game loose, poor condition, at a game store, and honestly it was very overpriced. And I thought about it then, because that's how much I've wanted to get this game. And I was lucky the next morning we were in southern Maine, and I was like, well, let me hop on Craigslist just to see if there's anything. We're not down in Southern Maine this often, and I saw a Sega Genesis lot with a bunch of other stuff, and this, along with the Sega CD, were my two favorite things from that lot. Really happy to have it. I've played this quite a bit since then. Does not disappoint. And this is the whole Streets of Rage series is something that I would eventually like to do some videos on. Now, I've told this story before. When I was a little kid, my mom came home from doing grocery shopping or whatever, and she said, "Hey, Tyler, I saw this game at the rental store. I think you'd really like." So long story short, she ended up getting it for me, rented it, and later bought it for me, and it was Conker's Bad Fur Day. She didn't realize at the time that, I guess, well, it's obviously rated mature, so I don't know how she missed that, but thank you for missing it, Mom. One of the most vulgar and just amusing and strange games, I feel, definitely that I've ever played. I know the Apes Odyssey and Exodus are also very, very quirky and fun and strange as well. But anyways, as far as this goes, played this a lot as a kid, and then when I was about 11, maybe 12, my brother goes and trades it for a pack of cigarettes. So yeah, I was pretty upset. Then about, I don't know, maybe 6 years later, I, was trying to get some of my old games back that I had when I was a kid, and I was even more upset that he had traded it when I found out how expensive this game was. So one of my first times going up to see Frank at his store, he had this, and it was $50. So he was having a summer sale where if you bought like 4 or maybe 5 games, you got 25% off your total purchase. So I grabbed this, and I went over and I grabbed a few sports titles from the dollar bin, and ended up saving some money on this and got some shelf filler as well. This next game is one that I got outside of an episode of The Hunt. I actually went to my local Goodwill, and this was quite a while ago. They had about 10 NES games, and this was back when you could actually find NES games at Goodwill, which you can't really do anymore, but that's a depressing story for another day. Anyways, I'm there, and there's about 10 games. They're rough. I think they're $5 each. In fact, I know the ones that I bought that day were $5. Most of them were stuff I already had, common stuff like Silent Service, Double Dribble, just the stuff nobody really cares about, to be completely honest. I did pick up 3 games that day, though. Ms. Pac-Man and Kirby, which I knew I was getting. And I took a little bit of a chance on the third game, but I said, for $5, I don't have it, I haven't heard of it, why not? So when I got home, I looked it up, and I was honestly really surprised. It's Fire and Ice. This is one of the a little bit rare NES games. It's not Dino Peak, it's not Little Samson, but I was just surprised at how much this game sells for. And obviously there are games that are rare and just suck, and it's like, wow, that game is so expensive, but yet it's so terrible. I mean, this game isn't an all-time, top 5 NES game, but it is definitely a good game. It's it's actually the sequel to Solomon's Key, and it has a similar gameplay. It's a puzzle platformer. It's got like a Mario 3 kind of overworld where you can pick whatever level you want to play. And it's definitely a good game, and it's one of those instances where it's like, I can't believe I found this at Goodwill. So this is this is my best Goodwill find, and it's just kind of sad to think about the fact that the chances of anybody finding even a $20 NES game at Goodwill these days, at least in my area, that's really rare, because it all goes on the eBay Goodwill pages and the Goodwill website auctions, and it just very rarely sees the floor at the Goodwill stores. But persistence does pay off. I actually have found NES games there in the past year, but obviously not as frequently as I used to. So Anybody that knows me or has seen this channel before knows that it's not a secret that I'm a Ninja Turtles fan. So it's no surprise that I have TMNT4 on this list and high. This was actually a gift from Jacob from our 2013 Christmas special that you can watch on our channel. He was able to get a boxed copy of this from Frank one time that we went up. Actually, it was the first time we had seen him in quite a while. We went to his garage sale, and he got this from him, and I was kind of upset at the time, but you know, I like to think that I kept my composure well. I didn't kick and scream. I may have mumbled under my breath some curse words towards Jacob, but all in all, I handled it as well as I could have. So fast forward a little bit, he had a friend up to school, mutual friend of ours actually, who had a copy of it as well, along with a manual. So he had actually already bought the game and the manual from him. So when we went to Frank's, he kind of had no choice but to buy this, because obviously I would have. So he was stuck with 2 copies of the game, a manual, and a box. So he gave me the better copy of the game, the manual, and the box, and I'm very appreciative. So thank you, Jacob, for that. It was probably the best Christmas present I've ever got. But, you know, you've given me some other good Christmas presents too, Jacob. And so I'm not going to overshadow those. The number 1 item on my list I got in the Hunt episode 39, and it continues the trend of items that are connected to Frank. Now, this item he actually grabbed from his office one time when we were at his house looking through some gaming stuff and, you know, whatever. And the funny thing about it is he had been bringing out, you know, rare and expensive game after rare and expensive game, and he'd be say, hey, have you seen this game before? Or like, you know, did you know this game costs this much or whatever? And you know, Jacob or I would be like, specifically I would be like, yeah, I mean, how much do you want for it? And he'd be like, oh, already been sold. Yeah, I have somebody online that has already spoken for it. So when he pulled out the robotic operating buddy, I was like, Frank, come on, dude, you can't keep doing this to me. And he's like, are you interested in it? And I was like, well, of course I am, but who's already bought it? Who's it spoken for? He said, well, I was hoping it's spoken for you. And he said, you can have it for $50. And I was like, well, yeah, I mean, I'll take that for $50. At the time, Rob was going for roughly 80 or so. And of course with Rob, it's heavily based on the condition. Does it come with the gyros, you know, this, that, you know, the battery cut, you know, all that good stuff. This is just Rob, doesn't come with the gyros or stack up or gyromite. He is more just for the sake of having him in your collection in terms of practical use and playing games with him. I mean, if you can have fun with him. If you like gyromite or stack up and you have them, yeah, you can definitely have a good time with Rob. But he's definitely primarily just a collection item. For me personally, I will typically have him over by my NES shelf, and I will pick out a game for him to just hold on to because that's what he's good at. So sometimes he might be holding on to my Fire and Ice or maybe my Castlevania 3 Battletoads. I try to change it up, you know, but Rob is a great robotic operating buddy, and he is the #1 item in my collection. So this concludes my top 10 collection items list. If you haven't checked out Jacob's already, I definitely suggest you go and give that a look. You know, we have a little bit different tastes in what we like, so his top 10 list is different from mine, as mine is different from yours, which makes me wonder, what is your top 10 list? And it doesn't have to be specifically video games. It could be action figures, or it could be comic books. It could be maybe if you collect VHS tapes. Please leave those in the comment section below. And if a top 10 list is too ambitious for you, which I totally understand, I procrastinated on this video, but just leave a few things down there below, because I'm definitely interested to hear what are some of your most prized items in your collection, and I know Jacob's curious as well. So thank you for watching and subscribing. Until next time, I'm Tyler, and have a good day. Bye.